Hey guys, welcome to Wake Up Missoula.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
I just want to plug Noel McAvoy, Josh Minnie, and myself,
How you doing,
Scott
everybody?
Ramp.
Yep. Hello, everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful morning. It's Wednesday, halfway through the week. We've got a good show for you all. We have a couple guests today. We've got events, city council. Elections were yesterday, so we've got the results for that.
Yes.
Yeah. Pretty much it. Yeah.
So I want to talk a little bit about what we can see here outside. I know it's a little small window, we can't go any bigger, but this is our little webcam that's just off the street. This is live at 15 frames per second. Weather today is currently it is 45 degrees out, but it feels warmer.
Yeah,
it does feel warmer.
That's
outside.
sun. That's sun.
Apparently today there's supposed to be scattered thunderstorms. The high is supposed to be 71 degrees, so it's still going to be really hot, but still.
Yeah.
Chances of thunderstorm. Tonight, mostly clear. Thursday, mostly sunny. Friday, slight chance of thunderstorms. Of course, this whole week it's going to be this, high humidity in the air.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The rain. It's spring
Tis
still.
spring.
Tis spring.
Tis spring.
We all know
Tis
that.
spring.
And the rivers are raging. I don't know if anyone's seen the Clark Fork, but it's pretty high. Kind of scary.
Yeah. I'm excited because we took some new photos from our
We did.
Facebook.
We look great.
I think we look awesome. We're
We look
actually
so good.
smiling and having a good time.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm always having a good time. I don't know.
Yeah, and we have our very own bear picture with the Wake Up Missoula emblem.
He's really cute.
Yep.
Yeah.
Chuck Bartlebaugh's bear
Yep.
from Be Bear Aware.
And the bear
Bear.
was died from a car accident.
Yes.
Yeah.
He was driving down the street
The bear was, yeah.
on his way to
Work. Tragic.
On
Don't
his
put
way
words
to
on
the
it.
honey,
Tragic.
the honey factory.
Can I tell the story?
No.
I don't know.
No, okay, so I can't. But anyways, so I want to talk a little bit more about summer camps. We still have room in our last summer camp, but the 2 summer camps are full. And
Okay.
we added another camp just for the surplus of kids. So our bonus camp is going to be happening July 21st through that week. That Monday of the 21st that week, that's our bonus summer camp for
Nice.
any kids aged 9 to
Overflow.
13 interested in learning how to use cameras, video equipment, how to edit, basically learn to make their own
Studio.
television.
Get to use
Everything
the
that you
studio.
see here can
Yeah.
be used by not only them, but also a week from today is orientation.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
orientation is happening next week, and for a slight fee of less than Costco, you can rent out a bunch of equipment, priced over $5,000 worth of equipment
Yeah.
for free.
Cameras,
technically
studios.
For technically
Editing
free.
equipment.
Technically free, but just an annual fee.
Yeah.
Which is
and
20
make your own
bucks.
TV. And why wouldn't you want to make your own TV?
And speaking
I think
of
it's
own TV, as I love doing segues, I want to talk a little bit about the program that's going to be on MCAT. And this program will be on at 7:30 tonight, and it's talking about the family laws. UM Law did a talk about family laws in terms of the lesbian, bisexual, transgender community, about adoption and what about the laws. And I'll stop talking and let them say what they have to say.
There are some states that require that children who are the product of arrangements with donors, that when they reach age 18, they have the right to find out the identity of their donors.
And this is going to be on MCAT tonight at 7:30 p.m. For more information, you can log on to mcat.org to find the schedule, all sorts of great stuff, like our webcam that we also have. I think that's pretty much it for my segment. I want to talk a little bit about my old kindergarten principal who is retiring this year. And she's also in this video I'm about to show about Out to Lunch. Out to Lunch is an institution that's been around for a long time.
Many years.
And
Many
this is
months.
from the vault. MCAT shot a little video from summer of 1991.
91.
91.
I've been showing a lot of videos from 91 lately.
Yeah. Well,
It was
I
a
like
good
91.
year.
Yeah.
It was a good year. Fast times. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a bunch. It's a They do demonstrations, they do music, they do a lot of just a lot of great stuff for the community. And we're going to have Jenny Mueller on right after this video. So
to talk about Out to Lunch.
But other than that, I want to say, give a shout out to my old principal from little kindergarten school when I was little Scotty, Candy Johnson, who also is performing in this video as in the Sweet Adelines back in the beginning. So this is her about like 23 years ago.
Wow.
Nice. Let's check it out.
Here we go.
We welcome you, and we thank you for coming and joining us today. We have some wonderful music and dramatic presentations for you and a lot of fun today at Out to Lunch. So you'll just sit down, relax, eat, and enjoy, first of all, this dramatic presentation with Ron Ray. Ron Ray's America. Ron?
Near champion is his brother Ben, slightly younger, who died in 1923. Buffalo had changed a bit by then. Champion hadn't yet hit 40. Long-time Texas cowboy. Nick Ray hadn't seen 30.
For he is broad gauge, you see, and they are narrow gauge.
Now a bowline is also called a safety knot because it will not slip. See, it won't slip. Tom Pool's knot. Now, Tom Pool's knot is 2 loops. There's 2 loops. There's something going on here, right? There's 2 loops. I'm going to cross them over like so, reach through, and I get this bow. Isn't that great?
Ron Ray and Craig Bentier, let's another big hand for their presentation today. Thank you very much. Wonderful. We got a lot of music coming up for you here, so just stay put now.
This is Candy Johnson. Candy is an elementary music teacher in Hellgate Elementary, and she sings the melody line. I'm Janet Stevens. I'm county commissioner, and I sing the bass.
We got Jenny Mueller here. Hello, Jenny.
Morning, everyone.
How's it going?
Good. How are you guys?
Yeah, downtown tonight, Downtown Association. So what's going on?
Well, we kick off Out to Lunch today, actually. We're pretty excited to get this season kicked off, and I think all of Missoula is just really excited about, not only the weather, but the fact that this summer concert series is back in action starting today. So
Yeah. Who do we have for the first band today?
The Bottom Feeders, and they are a local band, but they've never played it Out to Lunch or Downtown Tonight before, so we're really excited to have them.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then, so how long does this go for? Like, what times?
So it runs from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Wednesday, and that's through the end of August. Okay. So
great. And then how about dinner in the park?
Downtown Tonight is 5:30 to 8:30 every Thursday through August, starting tomorrow. So.
Awesome.
Could you tell me? Could you tell us what is your favorite? Which one of the bands are you really excited to see?
Well, there's a couple bands coming from out of town, and of course, we're all familiar with most of the local bands, but I'm excited to see a couple of the out of state bands. One in particular is called the Ben Rice Band, and I don't know off the top of my head when they're playing, but it's a young kid from Portland, and he is so talented. So cool. I really look forward to having him come play with his band, and
That's exciting.
yeah, it's fun for Missoula to be able to experience bands from all over the country.
And Missoula's becoming quite the music scene for students.
Absolutely.
Even if it, like, at this point, it's becoming more like that people are just traveling through. It's like, hey, you know, we can just play here. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
And then they start playing here more often. Even Paul McCartney's coming here, too.
I know, it's crazy.
We're pretty
So-
lucky for that, especially with having Northern Quest Casino so close, because people stop here on their way to Spokane now, which is, you know, 2 hours away, so they can stay the night here and then travel on to Spokane the following day. So
Yeah, we're really lucky. The only remaining Beatle is playing.
Right?
Awesome.
Ringo's still around.
Okay, that's true. Ringo is still around. He should come here too.
So-
just do a drum show.
I want to. Oh, go ahead.
I was
Jeff.
curious just what kind of food is going to be. What do the vendors look
This
like?
is very
Like you're reading my
important.
mind.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. That's what food is the way to my heart. We actually have several new food vendors this year, which I'm really excited about. Burn Street Bistro, who has never vended for Out to Lunch. They have done Downtown Tonight in the past, but they are vending for Out to Lunch. 5 on Black, which will be their debut and everyone's favorite locally, it seems. As far as Downtown Tonight goes, we do have a new crepe vendor coming in, actually all the way from Helena.
Wow.
Yep, so that's very cool. And then Tia's Tamales, which is locally, she sets up on like the corner of Scott and Toole at that new roundabout. But she'll be vending it Downtown Tonight this year as well, which is really exciting.
Okay.
Sounds great.
So we have these little playbills
Yeah.
right here. Playbills.
Handbills, yeah.
Handbills. Oh, playbill. Oh, so you had to go
He's
to a
a
play.
theater kid.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a. If you want to show that up to everyone.
Yeah, and we actually will have these at our office at 218 East Main Street if anybody's interested in coming by and grabbing a pile, whether it's for your office or if you need a couple for your home or friends and family you have coming to town and you need to know what's going on. These are a great reference. So.
Great, perfect. And then who's the band tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night is Shakewell, which is a local favorite. I'm really excited about that.
They're great.
I know there's a big concert going on at Big Sky Brewing. The Fray is playing tomorrow, but we don't think that will deter people from coming to Downtown Tonight. It's kind of two different demographics, but
I think it would be like, just before we go, I think it's a real testament to Cares Park and the Downtown Association that you told us that you have events booked up from Wednesday through Sunday all summer long.
Yeah.
Yep.
Could you tell me more about like what kind of events besides Out to Lunch and Downtown Tonight are you
yeah,
doing?
well, we have our usual favorites, you know, from Celtic Festival to German Fest to, you know, all of our favorite festivals, Maid Fair, which is it's just growing leaps and bounds. They've grown out of all of their indoor spaces, which is why they've ended up in Cares Park, which we are so excited about. And then, of course, we have a few weddings here and there, and anything from church services to class reunions to we have some high school graduation parties. So, yeah, we're really excited to have a full summer. And, you know, Cares Park is our town square, so we're pretty lucky to have it.
Very nice.
So where can people find more information?
MissoulaDowntown.com.
Great.
All right.
Great.
Well, this is Jenny Mueller. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Will we be right back? We have a phone call with.
Yes, we have I have his name right here. Rob Shaben, Crime Prevention Officer.
Perfect.
And we'll have him on here. We'll have him on right after this. So
Give him a call up.
Yep. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks.
Why is clean air important to you?
I like to be outside. It's nice to be able to breathe.
My parents are getting very old and they're having a hard time breathing as is.
So I can see the stars at night.
Look at what we have.
Everything needs clean air.
Can you tell me why clean air is important to you?
I need it.
You just flat out feel better when you're breathing clean, fresh air.
So when I breathe in, I don't know, I feel like kind of this sense of like it's in you.
I like to have my lungs filled with clean air rather than a bunch of car exhaust.
If you're not breathing, you're not here.
And would you be willing to pay a penny per gallon of gasoline to save 2,500 lives per year?
I sure would.
All right. Would you give a penny?
I'll give a penny.
Yes, I would. Here you go.
Yes. Would you give a penny to save 2,500 lives per year?
Most definitely.
Absolutely, I would pay a penny more.
Yes.
All right.
I would. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Most certainly.
All right. Thank you.
Yep.
Would you be willing to pay a penny more?
You bet.
All right.
Absolutely.
Yes, I would, hands down.
Hey, welcome back.
All right. Well, we're here with Crime Prevention Officer Rob Sheben. And Rob, what are you here to talk about today?
Yeah, hi, good morning, Josh. Today I'd like to talk about bike theft prevention.
Great,
Awesome.
great,
That's a great
awesome.
topic.
And we're also here with Noel and Scott. I should have told you on there.
Oh, we're just over here.
How are you?
We're
Good,
good,
how are
thanks.
you?
Good,
So
thank you.
What can you tell us about bike prevention, bike theft prevention?
Yeah, well, as the weather gets nicer, more people, they put away their cars and they switch to their bikes. And, of course, in Missoula, a lot of folks use bikes year-round. So as the weather gets nicer, we start, at the police department, start seeing a rise in reported bike thefts.
All right. Well, what kind of numbers are we talking about here? How many bikes are getting stolen?
Dutch, I don't have any specifics, but we definitely see an increase during this time of the year, usually from about April on. It's pretty obvious people are getting their bikes out, dusting them off from the long winter. And so I have some suggestions here to help folks keep their bikes intact and keep them from getting taken.
Yeah, so tell us, what are some of those suggestions?
So first thing I'd start with is we have a free service at the city, and it's register your bike. You just go into the city's development services office, and it's free. I guess years back there was a cost associated with it, but now it's free. So this is, if you're a person that doesn't document your stuff very well, I'm probably one of them. It documents your serial number, your make, your model, your frame size, and basically what that does is it has it on file so that if someone does take your bike, everything is noted, and it increases the chances of recovering your bicycle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So I heard that one of your prevention techniques were to have a bike that has a tracking device on them. Could you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that's something we talked about recently. The electronic products have improved so much over the years that some of these little tracking devices have gotten pretty small, and you can kind of tuck them away. So, we can't give away all our secrets, but it is something we've discussed here at the police department.
Great.
And what about locking your bike to certain objects? What are some of the objects that you want to lock your bike up to?
Yeah. When it comes to locking your stuff, first I like to say get a good quality lock. And generally speaking, that means it's going to be a little bit more expensive. But something like a U-bolt. Basically, a person with a criminal mindset will walk by a good lock, but will notice the cheap, skinny chains, which is easy to break. Some of these skinny, smaller ones, you can actually just take a bike and force it up against the chain, and it'll unlock. So, or it'll break the chain. So we definitely don't recommend that. Get a good U-bolt and lock it to something that's an immovable object. And when you do lock it up, take away detachable items such as lights, bags, quick release parts. Take that stuff in with you if you can. And when you lock your bike, take the front wheel off and attach it to the frame and the back wheel, so that U-bolt goes through all those bigger, larger, expensive pieces. And be aware that if you lock it to something that can move, some of these posts or poles that you can kind of lift up is certainly not a good idea. You want to do it to an immovable object, and and if you can, I would suggest take it indoors if that's possible. If you have a work that lets you take your bike inside, it's always safer to take your bike inside.
Absolutely, yeah.
I agree. Yeah, bikes are like gold in Missoula, so you really got to protect them.
Aren't they?
That's what I always say.
And like everything else over the years, gosh, they've gotten expensive, haven't they?
Yeah, they have. Yep.
As much as a car now, basically.
Yeah. And then another recommendation is personalize your bike. I used to say make it yours and differentiate it from others. It just makes it easier to locate. So if your bike does get taken, you have all this information written down, or it's at the city here, and we note
Very cool, very cool. Well, before we go, is there any other tips that you want to give or any other information, like who would you call if you did lose your bike or anything else like that?
Well, again, I recommend using that free service the city has to document that information because, again, like me, sometimes you buy something and then you barely remember what brand it is. This will have it all on record. And, you know, and I guess I need to emphasize that most of the bikes that are stolen are left unlocked. Mm-hmm. So that's something that's really important. I think we all get complacent and, you know, we lean up against our porch or we lean it up against our side of our house, and we've done it for 50 times and no one has taken it. But the 51st time someone potentially could take it. So always lock up your stuff and remember, the vast majority of bikes stolen are left unlocked.
Okay.
So I guess that's probably the best tip. It's just simple. Get a good lock and lock her up.
Great.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you, Rob, for being on the show. And yeah, maybe we'll hear from you later on in this summer about more safety prevention stuff.
That's great.
Crime
Thanks
prevention.
for having the message get out. Appreciate it.
All right, Rob. Thanks a lot.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right.
Bikes are so important in Missoula. Like,
Yep.
they're like gold. They really
Yeah,
are. Like, it's good that he told us about that.
My neighbor didn't lock their bike up and they got them stolen.
Oh no.
Yeah, they were underneath the steps of the porch.
Oh,
and
really?
They were there for months
Yeah.
and months unlocked, and then eventually at some point a criminal came and took them away. So
that happened to one of my friends too, but her bike was locked. It was like underneath a porch and it was locked, and they just went in there and cut her lock and took it. Yeah, so get a good lock and register your bike, everyone, because that's, if you want to keep it safe for the summer, yeah, that's the best thing to do. But I've got events, so I'm going to talk about that. So first things first, as we all just heard, Out to Lunch starts. So that, as we all know, 11 to 2, Curse Park. Downtown Tonight is tomorrow. They'll have over 20 different vendors and music each week. And as we also just heard, there are a bunch of different bands coming. And it's really cool that we have bands that are like out of state. So that's neat. Yeah. There's a neighborhood council meeting for the Russell to Reserve neighborhood council meeting, and this is for the neighborhood. This is Russell to Reserve Street and 3rd to the Bitter Branch Trail neighborhood. There will be a barbecue, and they will discuss sidewalks, city's growth policy, and upcoming opportunities. And this will be held at Franklin Park, and there'll be a barbecue and like music and food. So it'll be kind of like a fun city council meeting. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, open mic night at 6 p.m. at the Starving Artist Cafe. They are at 3020 South Reserve Street, Suite A. And they must be kind of new because I've never heard of them before. So go check that out. Yeah. Also, it is Hemp History Week at the Roxy. This is at 6:30 tonight. And you can celebrate and learn about nature's most abundant and useful crop, hemp. And they're showing a movie called Bringing It Home, which I've got a trailer for. So I'm going to show that to you guys right now.
The economics have shifted. Now it's about energy use. And so now these materials are starting to be focused on a lot more.
I look at the range of materials out there. I cannot find one to match hemp. I can't find one that has such a low embodied energy, locks carbon in, that has such a low environmental impact, and harvested with minimum inputs in a matter of just a few months.
You can separate the fibres, and it's the fibre that goes into loft insulation, car door panels, and it's the woody core that is mixed with lime cement to make hempcrete for construction.
There's so many variations on hemp fabrics these days. They're beautiful fabrics that are all very breathable, comfortable, washable. It's just a quality thing.
I love hemp seeds. I love them for breakfast, and then I have hemp milk.
What makes hemp a superfood is its excellent source of protein. It's the closest balance of essential fatty acids of anything that grows in the land compared to fish.
The amount of hemp products you see in Whole Foods and not only natural stores but mainstream stores is light years ahead of what it was like in 2000.
The claims that law enforcement can't tell the difference are ridiculous. Hemp's being grown in more than 30 different countries where law enforcement has no problem.
I really think that once we can grow and put hemp seed in American soil, that it will really unlock a whole wave of hemp entrepreneurship and jobs and dollars.
Hemp is hope. It's bringing something that's done it all before back into creating a green future for the planet and helping us all be sustainable on this beautiful earth.
Yeah, so this is called Bringing It Home. This will be at the Roxy. They'll also be having beer from the Kettle House and free hemp samples and a bunch of information from Montana's Hemp Council. So go check that out. There's also trivia at the Broadway at 7, jazz night at the Top Hat at 7, Kimberly Carlson Jazz Trio, trivia at the Press Box at 8:30, karaoke at the Badlander at 9, there's open mic night at the Dark Horse, and there's also a rock band from Chicago. These are like punk rock from the 90s from Chicago. They're called Local H. They'll be at the Palace tonight, and they'll be playing with Bad Veins, and it's $12, and I highly suggest you go check it out because they rage pretty hard. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's what's going on today.
Well, what a way to kick off this summer.
I know.
You got out to lunch, you got jazz, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
You got hemp.
Hemp. It's going to be a wild summer,
It's going to be
everyone.
just like crazy.
Go hemp, for sure.
Well, without further ado, we'd be keeping one of our guests waiting.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we've got some guests, so we're going to bring them on right now.
We'll bring them out as soon as
we finish
right after this.
Show our PSA.
Hello and welcome to MCAT. MCAT stands for Missoula Community Access Television. We are a nonprofit group that helps the community get into broadcasting and communication. How? I'm not sure. If it's too formal, I mean, people are just gonna be like, oh, that's boring. And then if it's too like, oh yeah, you don't give a crap, la-di-da. Are you filming this? Oops. How? We train anybody who comes through our doors how to shoot, edit, and produce videos. Whether you like to be in front of the camera or behind, we provide the equipment you need to get started, so come on down.
Oh, there's the screen.
Yeah.
Right there. Mm-hmm.
Don't look at it.
All right,
Not
welcome
that
back, you guys.
Hello.
We got a lot of people in the studio today.
So we have got people here from the Mosaic Foundation, which I'm going to actually have you guys tell us all about it. So this is Mayor Conrady, Karen Baker, and Thomas Hall. And so you guys, hello, welcome.
Hi,
Thanks for coming on. Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
So what is Mosaic?
Well, Mosaic is a non-profit organization that my wife and I started back in 2009, and our vision is to create a self-sustainable orphan care model in South Africa.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. How did it start?
Well, my wife and I, we are Christians, and we felt compelled to do something about the orphans and the orphan crisis in South Africa. We have only about 50 million people living in South Africa, but we have 2.5 million orphans. And according to statistics in 2015, which is next year, 1/3 of all children in South Africa will be orphaned. So just looking at that statistics, it's almost impossible to not feel compelled to do something about that.
Yeah.
So that's how our organization got started.
Cool. And you started in 2008.
We started, at the end of 2008, beginning of 2009.
Okay. And then you're the CEO and founder. And then Karen, you're the president.
I'm president of the U.S. And when I met Mayor on my second trip to South Africa and caught his vision and fell in love with the country, I thought that the U.S., and I know from what we had seen, the U.S. could really help them get started with funding. And you need to have a 501c3, so that's what we started here. And then in the U.S., our job is to get money and awareness to let people know what's going on.
Great, yeah, and where is funding coming from for this?
Funding is coming from all around the country, which is why we're visiting Missoula today, because Tom and the Montana group has come over several times. We have supporters in North Carolina, in Georgia, and in Pennsylvania where it started. It's coming from churches, it's coming from schools, it's coming from corporations, matching funds, and a lot of individuals who catch the spirit and really believe in what we're doing.
Great. And then so Thomas, how did you get involved?
Well, I heard about Mosaic, and I'm sort of the Missoula connection. To date, I think we brought about 45 kids from 11 years old up to 85.
Wow.
Over to South Africa, and the question I hear from Montanans, because we have needs here. Why would you go over there when you've got people on the street here? Quick answer to that is that once you go over and you get your hands and in 10 days create this brick structure and literally transform somebody's life. you come back over to Montana, and you realize that you can help to rehab these little towns throughout Montana that Habitat's never going to knock on their door.
Yeah, you just need like a push and a boost and like motivation.
See a model that works.
Yeah, that's great.
Wow, that's
Everyone
amazing.
who's come to South Africa, you come over with different expectations. The one thing that we try and tell people, and they really don't expect at the beginning, is it's going to change their life. It opens your eyes.
Oh, yeah.
And it makes you much more aware of what's going on around you, and it makes you realize that you can do something. The problem in South Africa is overwhelming, but we're making a difference. We have 20 houses built already. We have 89 children who are being cared for who had nobody before. And that doesn't seem like a lot if you're going to compare it to 2.5 million, but it is. And it makes you realize that you can do something. You start with one.
Yeah.
So you come home and you just say, okay, there's one thing I can do.
Yeah.
So where can people find information about you guys? Like, what is your website?
Go to our website
we got it pulled up right there.
www.mosaicsa.org. And that will give you a lot of information and give us our contact information and tell you the stories that we're doing and all the exciting things that are happening over there.
So how do you recruit people for this?
We come on public television shows in Missoula, Montana.
And we tell them about what we are doing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of word of mouth. Last night we were at an event with 30 people, and we're telling the story. And the couple had gone with Tom to South Africa and then come back and have a video and then tell their friends. And half of your friends will go, "You did what?" And half of your friends say, "How can I sign up?" And then we have to create jobs for these people because it's a self-sustainable model. It's not a monster that we're going to keep feeding with a charity where nothing happens unless people give money. These families are taking care of the orphan children, and we created jobs for them. And they're making products. They make products with knitted bamboo and leather products, food products, which we're not going to be bringing to the U.S. because I can't imagine dealing with the FDA. But then, you're wearing a bamboo scarf, and someone says, "Oh, that's a lovely scarf. Where'd you get that?" Or, "Gee, I love that leather bag. Where'd you get that?" And then you tell them, and they go online, and it's a fascinating story. We've been blessed to be very successful in 6 years. And that always helps with the excitement.
Yeah. So you build houses, but I also read, what else do? You do other things.
Our model basically consists of 3 approaches or 3 different programs that we have within our organization. And the first is to identify a family who's already taking care of orphans and then build them a proper house. Because many of the families that we work with come from shacks, and a shack is a couple of square feet. Literally, one bed, for the entire family of 5 or 6 people, a mother taking care of 4 or 5 orphans. And we moved them from that to a proper 3-bedroom house. Excuse me. And then the second focus that we have in our organization is to create a job for the parents. And this is where the self-sustainability, comes into our program. And by creating those jobs, we make sure that these parents have money so that they can put food on the table for the children that they are taking care of. And then the third focus that we have in our organization is life skills training. So we focus on the social skills of both the parents as well as the children to make sure that they are well adapted, and ready to take on life, basically.
Yeah, so what jobs have you guys created for these people?
We have, among our job creation projects, we have 2 different companies. So the one is the construction company, and that's basically creating jobs for most of the fathers living in our community. And then we have Made by Mosaic, which is a handmade goods business for most of the women living in our community. And like Karen mentioned, there they make all different kinds of handmade products, ranging from knitted goods made with bamboo yarn, all the way kitchen, homemade chutneys and jams and jellies and cookies and things like that. And then also we have a big leather department where they make the most beautiful leather handbags and purses and men's laptop bags and things like that.
Yeah, that's wonderful. So if you're a volunteer, how long do you stay over there for?
Well, we invite groups to come over for about 10 days, and during that 10 days, our construction team basically prepares the foundations and everything of the houses, and then the group of volunteers take it from there. So literally, when you arrive there as a volunteer, there's only a floor, and you take it from there, and the volunteers, in combination with a team of local construction guys, they put up the walls, they put up the roof, they do the stuccoing inside, painting, finish the floors, everything. So by the time they leave after 10 days, the house is pretty much ready to move in. It's then just a few final touches by professionals like electricity and plumbing, getting done. But so about 10 days.
Wow.
And they will meet the family at that time too, because there's a waiting list of families wanting to be there. So you'll see who's going to be moving into the home you built.
That's wonderful.
And a little bit of human interest. It's not all throwing mud at the house. You get to go on a safari.
Oh,
yeah.
It's fun.
Okay.
I always say you can't come to South Africa and not see an elephant. I mean, that's just wrong. So we take our groups whenever they come to visit us. We take them on a safari where they see real lions and real elephants and giraffe and in the wild. Kind of a neat experience. Yes. Maybe these Americans can testify about that.
It is incredible, and I have been there twice and didn't see elephants those times. But
that just means you need to go back.
One of the things that I like to say is the first time I went over, I fell in love with South Africa. Even before I started with this, it's a fabulous country. The people are wonderful. It's majestic. If you've never heard a lion roar when they're 10 feet away from you, I absolutely recommend it. It's incredible. You hear it with your feet. It comes up through the ground.
We bring high school kids over a lot too, and I remember one of the high school kids coming back on the plane. He looked at me and he said, "I will never, ever demean anybody because of race or color or their educational lack thereof." So this has changed the way I look at people.
Wow. That's what America needs too.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful. Okay, so then also, if you're a volunteer, where do you stay? What are accommodations like?
Well, that's a very good question, and we get that a lot from American volunteers coming. Am I going to live in a hut? Are we going to eat bugs? Is it But to be honest with you, I mean, South Africa is actually a very interesting country with regards to that. We have a first world, areas, and then we have third world areas, and the accommodation for our volunteers is actually quite nice. Bed and breakfasts. I won't say it's hotel accommodation, but I mean, it's fairly decent, and it looks like your house, and the food that you eat is what you not necessarily would eat here. Maybe down south they eat a little bit more like what we do in South Africa, but
you recognize all the food.
Nothing strange.
It's going to be strange.
We have we always tell our volunteers, if you get over there, you forgot your toothbrush, it's fine. There's a shopping center, there's a mall, you can go and buy the things that you need.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So do you go to specific villages and towns, or you just have like?
We are situated, or our organization got started in a town called Potchefstroom, which has a formal area where most people live, and then there's a business industrial area, and then on the other side of that there's an informal settlement where you will see literally thousands and thousands of shacks. Where and that's really the poverty-stricken area, and that's the community where we are working, and our community center is there, our offices are there. That's where we are based. So right now we are in just one specific area, one specific town, but our vision is to go beyond where we are right now and expand it to even more towns and villages in South Africa.
So then how can people get involved?
Well, there's definitely many levels of getting involved, and one of them, I would say, is if it's even possible, is to get over to South Africa and get involved on a hands-on level and get your life changed, like Tom said just now. That's definitely one, and then another level is spreading the word, telling our story. I mean, that's what we are doing in the States. We're having these events where we are sharing our story. And then last but definitely not least is get involved on a financial level. I mean, and every contribution makes a difference in what we are doing down there in South Africa.
And so if someone would like to go over to South Africa and do this, can they just find you guys on the website?
They can go to our website and email us and get in contact that way.
And can you do it as an individual, or do you have to go with a group?
Well, we recommend obviously coming over as a group. One person building a house might be a little bit tough in just 10 days, but but we have groups coming over regularly. So if you as an individual are interested in joining us in South Africa, we will, most definitely pair you up with a group. And we've had that before, where we have had individual people saying that I want to go over to South Africa, but I don't have a group of 10 people. And then we paired them up with groups that was already, in the planning process of going over.
Great. And one of the things people can do right now is just go to the website, mosaicsa.org, and sign up for the newsletter. And there's a lot of exciting things that happen that, it's constantly moving, it's constantly growing, and just keep in touch with us. And that's wonderful, just to know that the supporters are out there. And when you get an email saying, hey, that was really neat to see that you did that, that just helps everything.
Awesome. Is there anything else that you guys would like us to know?
Just real quick too, you've seen the picture on the screen, I think, several times. One thing they do a lot, and they do very well, is engage with the local community. So you're with kids that maybe don't have parents at all, and you can have a chance to really embrace them, touch them, talk with them, and mostly them really learning about you as well. So I mean, there's a lot of children, because of the HIV/AIDS pandemic that's in Africa. So part of what you get to do is not just build a house, you build relationships with these folks, moms, dads, grandpas, and certainly with the children. And that's wonderful.
Yeah, that is wonderful.
And South Africa is an easy place to go to. You don't need to have shots. Yeah. You don't have to worry about picking up these. Most of our children are healthy. Their parents weren't. It's that generation, but there is medicine they're taking now. So it's not like, it's scary when you think you're going to go across the world. But if you're going to do it, particularly for your first time, it's the easy way to do it.
Yeah, that's good. Awesome. Well, everyone go to mosaicsa.org to find out more information. And thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having us. Thanks.
And when we come back, Josh has some things to talk about city government.
Yeah, and election results.
Yep, election results and city council up next, everyone.
Come on, guys. Rolling? Good. When hiking in bear country like this, it's important to remember your essentials, like bear spray and knowing how to use it. Liam, where's my bear spray?
I put it in the bottom of your pack.
I didn't mean... How am I supposed to get it quickly?
When adventuring in bear country, remember, bring bear spray and know how to use it. Hike in groups, make noise, and don't run. Be bear aware.
Are you interested in pursuing a job in television and need experience, or are you interested in picking up a new skill? Missoula Community Access Television is a place for you. MCAT can get you trained and ready so you can hit the ground running in television. Call us up. Are you interested in pursuing a job in television and need experience?
Well, we are back, and Josh has city government stuff to talk about.
Yes. Let's hear it. What's going on,
Just real
Josh?
quick before you start, what's the main thing that happened on city council?
Well, a lot of things happened, but the biggest topic for sure that brought out the most public was it's a resolution calling for the Surface Transportation Board and Montana Department of Environmental Quality to hold public hearings in Missoula during the Tongue River Railroad and Otter Creek Mine environmental impact statement processes.
Wow, that's long.
That's a long-winded way of saying there's a coal mine and there's a train that they want to bring more trains in Missoula, and they want to the reason why those trains are going to be coming through Missoula is because of Otter Creek coal mine. And basically, while the government, the Department of Environmental Quality and the Surface Transportation Board are doing their environmental impact assessment, they want to have a protest period where the city of Missoula gets to, come out and protest and give their opinion on these trains coming through in this mine. Basically, they want to gauge the community of Missoula. And at any rate, that was the main topic, or that was the biggest controversial issue that happened in City Council. And one thing that the aspect about this was Brian von Losseberg made a resolution, asking for the protest period, but City Council member Hess basically said, I want to make an alternative resolution because I think that this resolution is too in favor of the environmental side. So I want to make a more neutral resolution. So
everybody's happy?
No, not everybody's happy.
Isn't that what the whole point of neutrality is, just so it can please everybody?
Where is Otter Creek?
Otter Creek is in eastern Montana.
Near Coal Strip,
Yeah.
southern Montana.
And so there's a coal mine over there.
West Dakota
Yeah,
area.
it's a huge coal mine. It's a huge coal mine.
Well, there's a bunch of coal underneath the Crow Reservation.
Yeah.
And so it's like, it's subbituminous, so it's not really a high level of coal, but they're talking about like extracting it just to bring jobs into their reservation because they're 42% is their unemployment level.
Wow.
On the
There's
Crow
so much
Reservation.
tape to go through. There's I have a friend who has to find the mineral rights, and he worked in like Dillon, he worked in Montana, and he said that one of the harder areas to do this is on the reservation because you have to, like, who owns the mineral rights?
Yeah.
It's the people who own the property, and like you can own the property on your land, doesn't mean you own the mineral rights to it.
Yeah.
At all.
So yeah, to get the basic idea going is that Brian von Lossenberg drafted a resolution basically saying, hey, we want the city of Missoula to come out and protest. So let's see here. The other council member, Hess, made an alternative resolution that said that's more neutral. So let's hear from him.
Earlier today I emailed around a proposed amended resolution. My intent was to seek a little bit more neutral stance because I do appreciate the opportunity for Missoulians to weigh in on both proposals, although the proposed resolution was written in a way that favored testimony opposing both proposals, and I know that we have constituents who both oppose and support both the Tongue River Railroad and the Otter Creek coal mine. I included some language to include both positive and negative impacts, including reference to Montana's Coal Severance Tax Trust Fund of approximately $900 million, which includes grants for economic development, long-range building, parks, agriculture development, renewable resource development, including the Big Sky Trust Fund, which has benefited businesses in Missoula such as Rivertop Renewables, Submittable, Blue Marble Biomaterials, and others. And so my intention with this is to seek a more neutral ground to encourage the process, include Missoula, but not necessarily side with one side or the other. So I will move the proposed amended resolution.
All right.
So, Mr.
Hertz. So that's Adam Hertz. I'm sorry, I was calling him Hess before, but that's Adam Hertz, and he's, I guess, basically, if from an objective viewpoint, he's more of a conservative, as opposed to the rest of the city council, which is more liberal.
Right.
So,
although he could be playing devil's advocate too.
Yeah.
But then again.
Well, basically, Adam Hertz, again, made an alternative resolution that's, in his opinion, is more neutral standpoint. But we'll hear from the other council members. First, Brian von Lossenberg, and this is his rebuttal to Adam Hertz's alternative resolution.
Thanks, Adam, for investing some time in this. I actually feel a bit more well-educated after going and reviewing the Bureau of Business and Economic Research study that you cited. There's a few pieces of language in Adam's resolution that I don't have issue with. There are some deletions and such that I don't support. I think the main thrust of the effort in the alternative resolution includes a couple paragraphs about the Coal Severance Tax Fund and its disbursements, and then this University of Montana Bureau of Business and Economic Research study. And I would actually argue that the inclusion of those makes the resolution, I know the intent was to make it more neutral, I actually feel that it makes the resolution less neutral in that if we got into a full discussion about the existence of the coal severance tax, while I have no opposition to mentioning the coal severance tax in the resolution, a full discussion of it would get into the history of why the tax exists, There's some language about, you know, that fund helping us to avoid a repeat of the plunder and run tradition that we had earlier with the Copper Kings and Anaconda Company and such, and as a way to keep some of that wealth in the state for future generations. And I think reference to it, its disbursements and such, paints it in a very non-neutral, positive fashion that isn't actually complete. Likewise, I think that the economic study that's cited, we would, in order to be neutral, if we wanted to include that study, would have to include Dr. Tom Powers, former economic professor at the university's sort of counter study that took rather strong issue with the conclusions and the method of the study cited. The study cited was paid for by the Contractors Association, and honestly, the thrust of the resolution that was heard in committee is to get the Surface Transportation Board and DEQ, DNRC here to listen to community members, whether they're for the efforts or against it. I would disagree respectfully. I think the resolution that came out of committee is plenty neutral in that regard, and the inclusion of these other items actually add a greater level of controversy. They're certainly not neutral in the way that they were generated, and so that's why I would urge adoption of the resolution that was discussed in committee.
All right, so that was Brian von Losseberg basically saying the additions to this resolution, the alternative resolution that Adam Hertz drafted, is not neutral. The additional aspects that he put into them is making it actually more controversial.
All right, hold on a second. I got an opinion. All right. Okay, this does not represent MCAT, the city of Missoula, or Charter Communications. I just want to say that he mentioned that they were going to have like a tax on the coal tax or whatever.
Yeah.
That'll help fund the state. So apparently all the money that we get from the taxes from them doing it is going to prevent global warming. It's going to be like, here, throw money at the sun.
Is that
global warming? That just feels like that's such a payout. It just feels like they're getting a payout so they don't have to worry about this. I mean, like, I think the best solution is to create a new policy that provides safer, cleaner transportation of coal. And of course, I think like in the future that there's going to be coal traveled. Of course, it won't be stopped indefinitely, but I think what they should do is just put a lid on it. I mean, like literally put a lid on the coal train, on the car.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
I look at the train, I look at the coal on the outside, it's like, why didn't they just put a lid on it?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that solve like so many problems?
That's a good point.
That's like the one thing I've always wondered is like, if that's the reason why the coal is like coming off, like blowing off, or like they spray like a thing on it.
Well,
right?
not only is the coal, there's coal dust coming from the coal, it's also the diesel that they're going to be burning off right in the middle. The train yard's right in the middle of the town, so there's a lot of diesel emissions, and then also just the congestion of the coal trains. It'll just
I mean, like everyone knows that they already have all the money that they need. They have more than enough money. Yeah. They're just going to throw their money. Like there's like, here's the money. Like that's going to help with global warming. Here's money.
And all the coal is going to China anyways. It's just going to be all this coal that they're getting from Otter Creek is going to terminals on the West Coast, and then it's being sent to China.
I digress. Let's move on. That was my little rant.
Yeah, well, so, I don't know. None of it is going to us. Why wouldn't we get the coal or use the coal when it's ours?
It is kind of going to us because once they burn in China, it like comes over.
Well, yeah, global
yeah, but then how much money are they giving us, you know?
A lot.
Good.
I don't know. Here's Jason Weiner, and here's his argument against.
Well, then again, I just want to say that was just my own opinion. It had nothing to do with MCAT, Charter Communications, or City of Missoula.
But it's good. I think it's good to have opinions on the show. Why not? It makes it more interesting, right?
Yeah.
As long as we give the
disclaimer.
Yeah. So, at any rate, here's Jason Weiner's argument against Adam Hertz's alternative resolution. So let's hear from Jason Weiner.
Okay. Thanks. I'm going to oppose the amendment. The specific reasons are the omission from the revised draft of the traffic delays at the Madison Street at-grade crossing. I'd say this is almost the issue that I've heard more about than anything else as a local ward rep and a sort of provincial concern. is the increasing use of that crossing as a parking lot or extension of the switching yard, followed, closely by other issues that are omitted, including the coupling and recoupling, noise pollution that comes, and so those are the provincial concerns, and I'm also troubled by the exclusion of the global concerns regarding the emissions from coal and the air pollution effects. I mean, if you're going to talk about the economic benefits of coal, you should factor in the health costs of lung cancers and mercury poisoning and the other things that come when you burn coal and you add bad stuff to the air. And it's just not an attempt to incorporate that in the revised version.
Ms. Marler on the motion.
All right, so that was Jason Weiner with a pretty frank statement there. And then, so yeah, basically that's the end of my city council today. That was the hot topic, but I just wanted to go over, since we had elections, primary elections.
But before we go to elections, where can people find information about the city of Missoula? Like, find these videos and events. We should talk more about those.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, you can go on to Missoula, Montana's website, www.ci.missoula.montana.us. If you just Google City of Missoula or Missoula, it'll be probably the first thing that pops up. But in order to find these videos, you go to Your Government up here, and then you go down to Agendas, Webcast, Minutes. So you click there, and then
you wait a couple seconds.
And here's a planning. If you wanted to watch Planning Board, you would just click onto Agenda, and then the video. Well, it says no video available, but
most times than not,
there's a video available. I'll go to the next page. You can go. Here's City Council,
and you see all what we saw today.
Yes.
Right on that website.
It all comes off this website, and it's a great
resource.
It's all filmed by Rick Phillips, mostly. MCAT's Rick Phillips. So,
and our very own general manager, Joel Baird, on Mondays for the city council. So they have 2 people on duty, making sure everything's nice and tight.
Yeah. So looks like we have just a couple more minutes left.
Yep. Let's rush through.
Yeah. So just as many of you probably already know, here are the winners from last night's election. So the U.S. Senate Democrat John Walsh beat out John Bollinger and Dirk Adams. The U.S. Senate GOP Steve Daines won by a landslide, over 110,000 votes. He's incredibly popular in the state of Montana. U.S. House Democrat John Lewis is currently leading. U.S. House GOP Ryan Zinke has a slight margin over Corey Stapleton and Matt Rosendale. That's a pretty close race. It still hasn't been completely decided. Montana Supreme Court Justice Jim Rice, Montana Supreme Court Justice 2 Mike Wheat. I'm just going to go down and skip ahead to Missoula County Attorney Kirsten Papps. She won, and I'm going to skip ahead some more. And the sheriff, who won, the sheriff T.J. McDermott.
He won the Democratic primary election for sheriff.
Yeah, he won sheriff. There was no Republican contender, so he's our new sheriff. And those are the big races. So I'm just going to end on that.
Great.